What's going on, everybody? My name is Aaron Park, the host of the Gentleman Drew podcast. And alongside me today is one of my good buddies from our Gastonia Ghost Peppers days, Mr. Noah Epstein. Noah, how are you, my friend?
Fantastic. Excited to talk some Stranger Things. I know also eventually we're going to talk some Marvel, some Star Wars. I'm into all that jazz, so I'm pumped, man.
Yeah, man, I love your Mace Windu little figure that you got there. You got him supporting you today. So, like Noah had mentioned, we're going to be talking about Stranger Things. First things first, before we get into any rankings, is what the basis of this video is. What do you think of season five? What do you think of? You can break it down to three volumes. You can do it all however you want.
I will break it down to three volumes. I'll do just that. I think I really like volume one. The four episodes, they were a lot of fun. They kind of got back to the root of where we all fell in love with Stranger Things seasons one, season two. At least I'm a season two guy. Um, and obviously the way it concluded with like one of the coolest scenes ever.
Cinema,
Because
man, it
yeah,
was
yeah, we're,
great.
we're we're definitely going to talk about that scene later. But the sorcerer scene is pretty dope. So yeah, I was really really excited after those four episodes, and it had the feeling of, oh, okay, maybe it could rival season four of how epic and how incredible it was, and wrap up storylines and answer questions. And then it kind of just fell short of that because volume two, I think, is where they dropped the ball. A lot of people don't like the finale. I think people are being too harsh on the finale. I think you have to take a step back and realize there were so many unanswered questions that they could have answered in volume two. Like
I
volume
totally
two,
agree.
like volume two should have been the volume where we got a lot of answers, like why November 6th? What was the deal with the play? Why are Joyce and Hopper not aware that it's Henry, or like do they know and they're just not telling the kids for some reason? There were so many weird things going on. It could like end the military stuff, like so. That's where I felt like they dropped the ball. Where you have um Shock Jock, which
I
is which
really,
is
I'm an enjoyer of Shock Jock. I really liked that
second
episode.
second half of the episode's good. The first half is it's fine. Second half of the episode's good, so I'm with you there. And then six and seven, don't do it, is where it started to God, it's January 15th, 2026. Six and seven is where like not a lot happened. You had good character moments, and then there was great character moments in the finale. And it wraps things up beautifully in a way for that aspect. But in terms of like the conflict and some of the questions we had, they just didn't do a great job wrapping everything up. And again, I don't think you could put that all on the finale. I think you put that on the season as a whole, and that's why I thought overall a bit of a disappointing final season. But I still liked it. I still love Volume One. I still love the epilogue of the finale. It's just between that is where I had some issues.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I definitely think season five, for me, and I haven't rewatched the whole thing quite yet. I rewatched them in pieces, but I haven't rewatched the whole season. I think it is the weakest season of Stranger Things. I think you can agree with that. Now, I say weakest because I can't say worst because I don't think any of the seasons are like bad.
Yep.
So I just am going to have to say like strongest and weakest would be how I kind of really look at the seasons in opposed to being, oh, this one sucks. I don't think any of them suck. I think
No.
each season has their moments that might suck. There's very few of those, but there's definitely standouts like season two, episode seven, The Lost Sister, and episode the front half of episode five in season five, and then episodes six and seven were kind of the weaker parts of it. But again, I'm really glad that they didn't end season five with like really bad episodes. They they wrapped it up to a good ending. I think they could have done better. Like a question I have is did how did everybody get off without getting any charges? They killed so many military people. How did they get off without any charges? That's one thing I just a little thing I don't understand that I could I'm hoping it slipped the Duffers' mind. I'm hoping that they didn't see it and say, "Oh, they got away with everything." I'm hoping they said, "Oh shit, we got rushed by Netflix and we weren't able to touch on that," which I definitely think played a part into how rushed the finale felt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about that, and I thought about a lot of things that they might have missed. And I'm thinking maybe because it was like just a section of the government who was after a child who didn't do anything wrong, they were arrested. They were arrested by another like the main government. I don't know. I was thinking along the lines of maybe that we didn't get an explanation, so either way it's annoying. But I was just
Yeah.
trying to figure out in my own mind, so with the with the finale and with certain things that happen, I've had to like create my own canon in my mind to make things
Mhm.
make sense. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and what happened to Dr. Owens?
I that actually bothered me.
That did
That
as
bothered
well.
me.
I think the last we saw him was Colonel O'Sullivan was interrogating him, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was in the lab. I
He was
believe
left.
he
He was
was.
left in the bunker. He was left.
Oh, it was in the bunker.
He
Yeah.
he was left chained up, and the characters all left. So I don't know.
I, I I guess we have to assume he's dead. I looked at the Stranger Things, the fandom wiki, and his status is literally the same as Eleven. It's unknown. Is Dr. Owens' status is he's unknown. But you got to take there's quite a few negatives, but for me, when it comes to Stranger Things, I tend to look more towards the positives. I look at how much this show has meant to me and you and a lot of the fans, and it's been my childhood. I'm not an OG watcher. I didn't start in 2016, but we'll get into this. We'll kind of tell our backstory about the Stranger Things before we get into the rankings. Um, the first season I watched was obviously I watched season 1 and 2. I got into it. It was the spring semester of seventh grade when in 2019. It was the beginning of 2019 when my friends introduced me to the show. And back then, I was kind of like nerd. I don't like nerds. I don't want to be associated with nerd until because I thought it was like thick, big glasses and they know how to do math. And then I got really in. That's when I really got into Marvel and Star Wars, right at the hype of Endgame being in 2019, right at the beginning of the year. I got into a friend group with some of my buddies that got me into Stranger Things. So season 3 hype was really when I got into it because it was a gap. They didn't release anything. It was, I believe, season 2 was October of 2017, and then season 3 was July 4th of 2019. So there was a gap. There was that it was unheard of. It was a little over a year from July of 16 to October of 17 for season 1 and 2 in between those two seasons. But yeah, that's my backstory. Noah, how about you, my guy?
2021. It would have been late 2021. So I was really late to the game. It was similar to you. It was kind of the hype for season four was building.
Mm.
So I got into it like a full season after you. But my ex introduced me to it. That's what happened. She
Hey, well,
literally that's the best thing that came out of that was was that seriously was that
yeah.
she introduced me to it.
Wow.
She was like, "You have to watch this," and we watched it. And I remember right over there is where I watched the season three finale, where I sobbed my eyes out because of Hopper.
Oh,
Because I didn't know I wasn't aware of anything that happened, so I didn't know they were going to have a after credit scene where he was in Russia.
yeah,
So I
I
felt
know.
like so it was yeah,
And
it
I
was a
definitely speaking on
great
that
experience.
post-credit scene, that most definitely was inspired by the MCU, 100%. It was right at the hype of, I mean, I can't say Endgame because Endgame wasn't out for them to put that into production, most likely. So it was definitely an Infinity War thing. And a lot of MCU movies do that as well. But seeing that, like you had mentioned, that Hopper scene and Colby, the DJ, had never ever watched it. And he just binged the entire show, I believe, right after volume 1 of season 5 came out. His
Mhm.
girlfriend said, "You got to watch this." And he had no idea what was going on. And he loved it. He binged the whole thing. He got sick for like a week and binged the entire show. So that was pretty cool to get him into it. And now we chat about it.
I have to ask him about it in class.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Professor, Professor Epstein.
Professor
Yes.
Epstein, yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and get into these rankings here. We're going to start off with a basic ranking. Um, you can fluctuate a lot here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get into top 5 characters in the Stranger Things universe. I say that like there's multi-universe. There's one universe, and who's your number 5, Noah?
My number five is L,
Okay.
which you might think is a little disrespectful, but I needed to include her in a top five ranking. She's obviously a great character. The whole fish out of water, but not in a cool way because of everything that she went through, and from the second she was born until 1983. Um,
Yeah.
when she's finally able to escape and then run into the guys. And her journey was incredible. There's a certain scene that we're going to get into later because we're going to talk about scenes that means so much to the show, so much to me, I'm sure so much to you, and it really like um encapsulates the her character, encapsulates the growth her character has had over all these years, and I think she is a great character. Who's your five?
Yeah. With at my number five is probably someone that you might not have in here, and it's Henry Creel and all of his evolutions. The main reason here is just the absolutely incredible performance from Jamie Campbell Bower. That is the main reason. Obviously, I don't like what he's doing. I want him to. If we haven't said spoilers, I mean, I don't know we haven't, but why click on this video if you don't want spoilers? I'll put that in the thumbnail or whatever. But obviously, spoilers when obviously we want him to get killed and he does die at the end after Joyce cuts his head off. But I just think his character as a whole is great. I really I really think Stranger Things was scarier before Vecna was ever introduced. I think one and two, it's kind of the fear of the unknown because you have no idea what this mind flayer thing is. You have no idea what's going on. You think, is Will still possessed? Is he not through season two? Because, at the end of season one with the cliffhanger when he coughs up the slug. But I do think Vecna added a shock factor into this. And then when you get to episode seven of season four, the massacre at Hawkins Lab, you see the revelation, the realization of who Vecna really is, and I just think that's incredible. And his story, I think, is great. And the first shadow, which we can talk about throughout this podcast, whenever is, I think that just adds to it more because you just get more lore about him. So at five for me is Henry Creel.
You've seen the show or the
I have,
on Broadway?
yes, I did.
I have not actually.
I think it was great. I thought it was awesome. Practical effects are great, but I mean, if you want to go watch it, I highly advise it. You're out on the island, right?
Yeah, so I'm in New York. So did you see it in New York?
I did. Me and my dad saw it when we went. It was the same Yankees trip
Mm.
when I was texting you and Blake. Blake's our good buddy who also worked at the Ghost Peppers. Another big Yankee fan. When I got the bobblehead, I got the Judge bobblehead. It was that same trip, and my dad hated it. My dad doesn't like Stranger Things, but he he sacrificed and he said, like, I was like, Dad, I have to see this might not happen ever again. It's like a Hamilton situation when they first started touring with Lin Manuel Miranda and Leslie Odom Jr. I was like, this is the original cast. This is like they might rerun it in 10 years and it's just going to be new Broadway kids. It's not going to be the same guys, and the performances in that I think are top tier. I think they're great. So Noah,
Jamie
who's your
Jamie
number?
make sorry, Jamie making an appearance at one of them
I
was pretty dope.
I I almost had a stroke because I thought that had been doing that. I was like, did I see one with Jamie? Did I see it with Jamie? And then I realized it was a one time thing. And I was like, ah, son of a bitch. And it wasn't. So your five L, my five Henry, one Vecna, whatever. So who's your number four?
Dustin, also known as Dusty Bun. Um, he's awesome. He's well, Mike might be the storyteller and the heart. Dustin is the brains. And it's just so awesome to just like you said you originally wasn't sure you weren't sure about getting into it because you thought it was nerdy and everyone had glasses and well, Dustin basically is just using his brain to defeat all these monsters, which is so sick. But
Yeah.
also you see his growth. You see the moment in the pilot when he wants to give the pizza to Nancy, and clearly he has a thing for Nancy because everyone in the whole show has a thing for Nancy. And then I don't blame them. And then you go fast forward to the season two finale where she goes up to him and she's like, "Do you want to have this dance?" Then she gets to dance with her, and she's like, "You girls are gonna be crazy about it in a few years." Yeah, the pearls. Then obviously the whole thing with Steve, which we're gonna get into, I'm sure.
Mhm.
So yeah, Dustin's a great character. Love him.
I'm right there with you. I got Dustin in my four as well. I think he just matches up so well. Uh, the big brains of the entire show. And the more I think about it, I never thought about this. He's the only main boy out of the Dustin, Lucas, Will, Mike that never takes a back seat in a season. If you really think about it like that, because Will's not in season one. He's barely in season one. He's got like 12
Mhm.
minutes of screen time. He doesn't play a big role in season four or
There's
season
no
three.
way he has 12 minutes. No chance.
He doesn't have much.
He
in
has
season
probably
one.
has like two or 3 minutes. No?
I think I saw something. I don't know how, but it's little.
When would he
You're
have
you're.
the?
I have no idea. I have no idea because
Sorry, I just.
he's in like the first 8 minutes, the first 7 minutes when they're playing D&D, and
Mm,
that might be all he gets. But he doesn't get much. That's what I'm
I
saying.
would be
And
shocked. Sorry, I know this has nothing to do with what you're
let's
saying, but I would
let's
just be
see.
shocked if he got.
So yeah, we I did some research during that little cut there. We couldn't find exactly how many. He was telling me 97 minutes. There's no way, but he takes a back seat for most of that. I think aside before pre-season five, season two was his best season. Before season five, just because he takes a back seat in season three, he just does this like 10 times. That's it.
Mhm.
Season four, he's just a side character. He's just barely even there. He does this like twice. And that's it. And then season five, of course, we know he has powers and everything, and he's got a lot more screen time. So Lucas, he's never been the kid in the show at all. I mean, he's great. I love Lucas. Caleb McLaughlin plays him so well, but he's never the kid. And Mike takes a back seat in season four. So that's why I have Dustin out of the in I don't know about your ranking, but out of the four main kids, Dustin, Lucas, Will, and Mike, he is ranked the highest out of
Yep.
all of them.
Yep.
So is that the same for you?
Correct.
Okay, so then I'm interested to see who's on your top three, and I bet you are for me as well. So I've got Dustin at number four along with you, and who do you have at your number three?
My number three is Mad Max. Uh,
Okay,
I think, through three, or I guess not through 3 seasons, after seasons 2 and 3, she's like a fine character. She's like whatever. I mean, she has the moment with Billy's death where she's sad, but we're not like in love with Max. We're not. But season 4, she
come on.
became she became a fantastic character. Everything that went into it, like everyone always sings like running up that hill, Stranger Things, but if you listen to the lyrics, it goes along with the exact experience Max was having. And I just think that's so impactful when you make a character like it just they wrote her story so well. They wrote her character so well. She's clearly a top 3 character in the show to me.
Yeah, I agree with. I actually agree with you a lot. I do not have Max in my top five. Um, you're making me want to change my mind, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna make a strong case for my top three, and this is probably low for you. I've got Steve Harrington at my number three. Um, I just really think he's probably got one of, if not, probably not the best, but one of the best character developments in the entire show. The Duffers were this close to killing him off in season one, but they worked with Joe Keery, who's a fantastic actor and actually a pretty good musician as well. And they work with him, and they love this guy, and I'm so glad they left him in because um, just being able to be like start off as a dick in season one kind of still is at the start of season two until he tries to go give Nancy flowers, and then Dusty Bun says, "Hey, I need your car. Let's go." Or he says she's not home to him or something, and like let's go. And he's wearing his tight ass jeans and shit, and his hair and his jacket, and then they go on this adventure where they're throwing meat on the railroad tracks, and then the Farrah Fawcett gets dropped, which I think is just such a great little brother moment. Me being a little brother, but also being an older brother, a middle child, so being able to see relationships like that and being able to relate that to my life, I think is incredible. And Steve is just all around a great character. And the scare in season five, oh man, I was terrified. But thank you, Jonathan. I'm assuming he's not in your top five either. But aside from everything that you've ever done on the show, Jonathan, thank you for saving Steve.
Can take this man out of the city, not the city out the man.
Okay.
Wise words by
Yep.
the Joe, uh,
Joe.
who who is my number two. So I might as well just keep talking about Steve.
Yeah.
Um, he's great, and also I love that they nailed obviously the whole should he not die. Um, they nailed it in the epilogue with him becoming a baseball coach. It's
Yeah.
kind of a not kind of a nod of the bat, which is cool. But more importantly, he's working with kids. He has the nice moment with Derek, and he's
Yes.
like it's awesome. It's awesome that they made him a coach. He's hanging around kids in a normal way, and then also he's a sex ed teacher, which is awesome. Like it's ever
That's so Steve Harrington.
yeah, very Steve. Um, so yeah, I question by the way because you said like about the potential that he died. Would you have liked it more we were talking about the finale a little bit. In seven, if they went into the final battle, we go into the abyss, Steve falls, cut to black, wait a week. Wouldn't I think that would have been so much more impactful because then you would
And
have
it
had,
gives it more time for the final battle. I actually,
yeah.
as a fan, I would have hated it, but as a writer, I think that's, excuse me, that might have been, that probably was pitched. If I had to guess, that was probably pitched by either obviously one of the Duffers, Kate, or one of the co-writers, or maybe one of the producers, or maybe one of the characters. Because these guys, they don't have, in the wise words of the Ravens manager, I forget his name, Steve Bisciotti or something. He said, "You have some say, but you have no power." I think he said that talking about Lamar Jackson, who's his new head coach. But I definitely think the characters, actors, and a lot of the people have they can like Duffers are open to hearing their input for ideas, but they're not going to make the yes no call. I think that probably did come up in the writers' room, and it would have kept people watching, and it would have left more time for the final battle.
Yeah, and also in addition to all the good points you just made, it would have been a whole week of is Steve going to make it? Is Steve not going to make it? And we already had some of that chatter, but that would have elevated the chatter so much because he literally fell. It was kind of cheap the way they did it, where it cut to black and then you just go back and he's being held by Jonathan. The execution for that wasn't that good. I'm very happy, like you said, that Jonathan was the one to save him. That's a great decision. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
execution wasn't great. And if we had a whole week and then the first shot we see is Steve being held up. It's just makes it a lot better in my opinion.
Now, the only I am nitpicking at this because I'm trying to be play devil's advocate here.
Yeah, go
The
for it.
contrary to that, why would they wait a week just to save him? You could say that maybe that's why they didn't do it. Why even have a cliffhanger that long just to save him? Or
There
on the
wasn't any
contrary,
cliffhanger. It's better
no,
than no cliffhanger.
but I'm talking about on what they did. What if they waited a week and there was, oh, why are they going to kill him? And then he just is dead. I think people could say that as a negative that it was anticlimactic, but I think that it would have been better than the cliffhanger that they did. I think that would have been better. What you said.
But the way they did it was 10 minutes into the episode. They're not gonna or 20 minutes in, they're not killing Steve 20 minutes into the episode
Mm-hmm,
just from falling. That would have been
mm-hmm.
the worst possible just because the thing got a little shaky and he fell. Like
Yeah,
that's
but I do
no.
think seeing everybody's reaction to it, like Robin, like Maya Hawke, she looked devastated when Steve got saved. Like she looked, oh my gosh, she was devastated. And did you happen to watch the BTS documentary?
I didn't. I watched clips, the some of the viral clips that are going around, but I did not watch the whole thing. Did you?
I have not. I think about halfway through. I really like it. As you know me as a production guy, I put ever since I've been taking these classes at Gaston College, I've been putting myself in like a producer situation. So every time I see a shot, I'm like, okay, so the camera was here and the camera was back here, and then they filmed that in different days and different shots, and it makes it all weird to see. But one of the scenes that I do remember is when they're fighting the physical form of the Mind Flayer, and Steve and Dustin are stabbing it. And I think it was like an egg mix with red food coloring or something. And Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin, for those who don't know, almost threw up.
Yeah.
He gagged in the video, which is just, I mean, they're playing the part. So yeah, so that means Steve is your two.
Yep.
And I'm going to go into my two, which I think is your one. Mine is Jim Hopper, is
Okay.
my number two. Um, I think he's a great character. I really do think he's a great character, great mentor. Lots of very touching and emotional scenes with him in almost every season. You got, excuse me, season one, episode 8, when they go and save Will, and he's having when they see the vine down Will's mouth, and he gets flashbacks. I think it's to the intubator. I think is what that's called, with his daughter Sarah when she has cancer. I was like, oh, right there to the heart. And then you've got in season 2 when he takes 11 in, and one of the funniest moments that I thought was pretty cool was his moment when he was dancing to Jim Croce, which I'm going to shout out real quick. I've got, where is he? Right here. Here we go. I've got my Jim Croce vinyl, So I hope
That's
you can
sick.
see it. It's reversed. Where's you don't mess around with Jim? There it is. You don't mess around with Jim. So every time I kind of feel down and I'm thinking about the show, oh, it's over. I'll throw that on my little record player I got back here and I'll just start doing the twist and dancing like Hopper and envision a little Jane Hopper looking at me like I got 16 heads. So I just think there's so many wholesome moments with Hopper and his character development is terrific. You know, he's just this punky dirtbag police chief, doesn't give a shit about anything until the first shadow is really what changed my mind about this. When you find out Jim and Joyce went to high school together, you find a lot about that. That all the main parents in the show pretty much went to high school together. Um, Being able to see that and probably why he changed, because he was like, okay, this is a friend from high school, you know, which kind of makes him seem even more like a dirtbag. Like, if you're not someone I know, I'm not going to help you, which kind of is a dirtbag. But again, his evolution definitely had something to do with the loss of his daughter. He was like, oh shit, I'm just going to do this. I don't have a family to live for. My wife left me. My daughter's gone. And then Elle comes in and he just changes his life. She changes his life. He changes hers. And the funny moments where he'll be cooking and Elle's got her ghost thing on. I want to say that's season two, episode two, Trick or Treat Freak, and she wants to go trick or treating, and she's like ghost or something like that. And there's just a bunch of funny moments, and then he gets really serious, and we're not stupid. So Hopper's my two for that reason, and I just think he's got great character development throughout all 5 seasons.
I'll give you another wholesome moment for my number one character in the show, Jim Hopper. Um, he had a phenomenal speech in season four. He's had a lot of good speeches, but in the Russian prison, great speech about his daughter explaining about all the fumes and he knew the risks and that he's the curse and everything. And it's so heartbreaking. Um, and it's just I'm happy that he was finally able to have peace with Elle's decision by the end because he learned the lesson that she was trying to teach him throughout season five. One of the best parts of season five, in my opinion, was the Elle Hopper team up. They finally are on their own together on a mission, as opposed to season two where they're just locked in the cabin doing nothing because she can't go anywhere. He finally like lets her go into the upside down, lets her jump because she counted 7 seconds.
I
So,
wish we saw that scene when she's jumping from they're in
oh,
the
the
upside
the
down, and
rocks, yeah.
I wish we would have saw that scene. That would have been absolutely sick. But again, I think it also is cinema, like kind of way cinematic ways where um you're like they're fighting and Nancy's cornered and they're about to the mind flayer, the physical form is about to do something to everybody, and then a rock comes out of nowhere. You're like, what is that? You kind of forget about Elle for a second. And then it's got that wide shot and it pans down to Elle, who's this big, and the mind flayer's this big, and it just it is great cinema. So there's a lot of positives and negatives to each way. I do really think we saw that rock jump scene just because it's like action packed.
And that each season has one of those moments. Previously, season one had the worst of those, not the, sorry, the weakest, like you were talking about, not like worst, like it wasn't bad, but the weakest of those moments. And season five totally takes that mantle now because that was the moment that was supposed to be the moment of season five where it's like if someone's in trouble and then someone comes to the rescue. Each season has had, I'll give you one better moment from each season where it does that, and some of which I'm obsessed with. Season one, it's when the kids are hiding under the bus. The government guys are coming to try to get them, and then Hopper knocks out all three, opens the bus door. It's him, and he's like, "Come on, guys, let's go." It was like fine. It was cool. Season two, obviously, it's the mind. It would have been, yeah, I guess the mind flayer, the form of the mind flayer. I don't know, whatever it was. The monster was attacking the cabin, or no, it was the Demodog. The Demodog was attacking the cabin, and all of a sudden, like part of it rips up, and then they're like, "Is it dead? Is it dead?" And then L undoes the lock, walks in the door. That's the first time Mike sees her. Like, awesome, sick
Did you
moment.
kind of forget about her storyline because you
Yeah,
hadn't seen her in
yeah,
that was at the end of episode 8, right?
yes.
So you saw her in the Lost Sister. You're like, oh shit, okay, she's still in Chicago. What's going on?
Hmm.
And yeah, that's a great scene. Seeing it go come through the window and whatever happened to that thing? Is it still in Joyce's fridge? I mean, what the
Great
hell's going
question.
on?
That's a
What's
really
going
good
on? And
question.
where's the dog? Where's their dog?
Oh yeah, we don't know where the dog
Is the
is.
dog? Did the dog? Is the dog with Muse up in heaven? Where's the dog?
Yeah, I think the dog's in heaven. I think
Probably,
that's what we're supposed to
realistically.
assume. I don't know.
Maybe they
Season
put it up for adoption when they moved to California, probably.
Probably season three. I'll just do this very quickly. Season three is uh in the mall. Very beginning of the finale where Hopper, Joyce, and Murray, like Hopper steps on the thing's head, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like dun 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 dun, dun and then it like pants it. Awesome.
great score,
Maybe my
great
favorite,
score.
amazing, maybe my favorite moment of the whole show. And then in season four, it's when Elle's about to get shot by the guy in the helicopter, and then all of a sudden Jonathan and the Cali gang come in with the car. So it's like you have all those moments, and three of them I'm like obsessed with. Seasons two, three, four, I think they did it perfectly. And it's like one of my favorite things about the show, and I just don't think they got it in season five. But that's we don't need to go off about that. That's just a very quick,
No, I
because I
think
know we're
I agree
complete.
with you. I think out of those, just real quick, what do you think is the best? I like season two the best of those moments.
Of those moments, ooh, it's either, oh my God, it's so tough between two, three, and four for me. I'm quite literally, I've watched all those three moments a million times. I'm obsessed with all three.
I think
That's
it's two, then it's three, then it's four, then it's one, then it's five.
for those
Because
moments.
one's kind of anticlimactic,
Yeah.
just because okay knocks out some police officers and comes in, and but with number or
Two, three,
season
so
three,
four so good
I'm gonna say
though.
two, three, four in that order.
I love four because you're thinking the whole time, oh, this California plot isn't really great. It's going nowhere.
Yep.
What's happening, Susie, all that. But then not saying that it makes the plot line great or anything, but then it leads to the most important moment of the whole season where
Yeah.
where Elsie like, oh, it's so great. I honestly can't choose because I'm obsessed with all three.
Yeah, they're all great. And my number one character, I've talked enough about this character is 11.
Yeah.
I love that character so much. And what really plays a big factor into it is I've thought about this is when I first watched the show, I had a huge crush on Millie Bobby Brown. When I first tuned in 2019, I was like, oh my goodness, she's beautiful. And the show was good. Like it's a perfect combination. So that definitely played a role. But again, her development, I think, is great. She's, gets taken in. She doesn't know what to do. And her first thing she says, I think, is no to Benny or something like that. And um, what really helps it is the off screen, the interviews, like when Millie would go on Jimmy Fallon. I'm like, okay, so this character's great. And I just think the actors and the cast are great as well. But it's definitely, I think, my favorite character. And she is the reason for the show, pretty much. Like, there's so many what ifs. What if 11 doesn't escape? What if, one kills 11? Like there's so many different things. And that's why I think 11's my character number one. So my list is Henry Creel, Dustin, Steve, Hopper, and 11. And go ahead with yours.
L, Dustin, Max, Steve, Hop.
Yeah, definitely. I think some great lists. So we're going to quickly move into this one and we'll get right through this one. This one's pretty easy. Duos, just your top five duos in the show. There's actually not as many great duos as I had actually thought. So I've got five good ones. Starting off my list at number five is a one and done. They were one season together. They were pretty great. It's Dustin Henderson and Eddie Munson. I love their character dilemma. I think it's great. They're older and a younger version of each other. Maybe aside from the guitar playing in the metalhead, but the fascination with D&D, I just think I think their combination and their dilemma is great. So at my number five is Dustin and Eddie.
My honorable mention, because I had to include a sixth, I felt compelled to have an honorable mention, is Dustin and Eddie also.
All right, cool.
So
And
we're on the
then
same page there.
and then who's your number five?
My number five is Ellen Mike. So
Hmm.
Mil-11, as the internet calls them. I've always loved it because Mike is the first person to, recognize her as another person. He gives her the name Elle because it's a very cute scene in I think episode two of the whole show where he's like, "Oh, well, my name is Mike, short for Michael. Why don't we call you
Yeah,
Elle, short for 11?" It's so cool. And then obviously
yeah,
they get the dance of the snowball, and yeah, they go through season four where season three they're making out and everything, and then they have the whole Hopper trying to get them broken up with basically. But then season four, he's not saying I love you. but then it culminates in him saying, "I love you" in the most important
You're my
scene.
superhero. You're
Yeah,
my
exactly. Which is
superhero. Which
awesome.
is
And then of
is great,
course,
great sequence.
and then season five, you get Purple Rain. So I don't know. I think they're a great match. I have a one relationship higher on this list, but they are my second favorite couple in the show.
Yeah, I think I know who your relationship is. I don't have any relationships in my top five of duos at
Wow.
all. I have
Hater
no
of love.
relationships. No, I'm a lover of love. Let me tell you something. I'm a lover of love. But at my number four is from my favorite season of the show. It's season three. We'll get into that. Is Max and 11. I think they're like I said, just the way they mesh together. You never think they would. You see how they are in season two. It's kind of like Max or 11 is a little envious and jealous of Max when they have that, when Mike and Max have that moment in, I think it's the high school, I want to say. It's in the school, in the gym. And Max is riding her skateboard, and Mike is like, "Oh, you're a Zoomer, you're a Zoomer." And I think 11 thinks they're flirting and flips her off the skateboard. And Max is like, "Oh, it was a magnet that pulled me off." But just being able to see how they went from that to like best friends. And in season three, the one of my favorite scenes in the show is Material Girl, their little montage in season three, episode two, the mall rats, which is what they are. Excuse me. So just to see them kind of come together after they're kind of, you don't think they're going to be friends, you don't think they're going to be a good couple, but they go. And the case of the missing lifeguard, sound like Mike Tyson right there. They go and they find Billy and Heather flayed, and then they're going to flay Tom and what's the mother's name? Miss Holloway, whoever it is. They
Yeah.
flay the mother and Tom. So to see them go do that, and I just think they're a great duo. So they're at my number four.
Uh, I was going to include them, and then I realized there are like two episodes where they're a good duo in the entire show, in my opinion. So I was like, there's no way I could include them. There's
I
no after the loss of Billy, it's not like Elle is out there talking with her about it whatsoever. You have in season five when Max finally gets out of the coma, Elle's like, "Oh, Max, you're here," and that was like it.
right.
There is no way. I understand what you're saying. As soon as you said Max and 11, Material Girl started playing in my head. So like, yeah, that's an iconic scene. But aside from that, and her trying to tell Elle that she should just go out and do whatever, which is pretty bad advice, by the way. Um,
Yes.
she meant well, but not good advice at the time. Yeah, there's no way that they could be on mine.
Season three bias.
Yeah, totally. I get
Season
it.
three bias. That's
No,
it.
no, hey, to each their own. I just, for me,
Yeah,
I need more than two episodes of someone being
I
a good
understand.
boy.
That's. I was thinking about that. I was like, do I like? I originally had them at my five with them and Dustin and Eddie flipped, and I was like, I prefer the Max and 11 just because I like season three more. But that's my four. And how about you? Did you say your four yet?
I did not. It also includes Elle. How about this? Ellen Hop. Ellen Hop.
Okay.
I think season two, one of the best parts of season two is definitely their dynamic of Hopper finally getting to be the parent who tells his kid no candy and you can't go trick or treating and you're grounded. Like all you can tell that he wanted to do that with Sarah so much and he finally got to. And then she is the rebellious kid who is like, you are like Papa and everything. So that dynamic was fine. Season three, Hop was kind of a little over dramatic and a little annoying about stuff, and he's literally bopping the song you were talking about after he gets his daughter and Mike broken up with, which is hilarious. And then season four, that reunion. Oh, season three, the letter,
Mhm.
heartbreaking. Season four, the reunion at the end, also cried. And then season five, they're finally teaming up, and he's trusting her more. And I already talked a little bit about that bond. So for me, Ellen Hop is a really good duo.
That's my next one. I've got them at my three, Hop and 11 for you. You said it. Literally, the reasoning for my Hopper and 11 at three is exactly what you just said. There's not really much you missed out on. The only thing that I would say is the little scene they have when Hop is going to go sacrifice himself with the vest. It's like, I love you, Jane, and I get goosebumps every time. I just said it and I got goosebumps. I got chills. I think that was such a great scene. It was the first time I didn't cry during that scene, but I got very teary eyed. That was the first time in season five. I was like, oh my gosh, What's going to happen? I don't know because it's a Hopper thing to do, and I could definitely see him. That's the way he would go out if he were to go out. That is how he would go out. But yeah, they're my number three, Hop and 11.
My number three, I doubt it's on your list, and it's probably not at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. I'm going Will and Jonathan.
Oh,
Every
okay,
sing every single time we have a Will and Jonathan scene, it's one of the best scenes in the show. Every like it's
can't
sort of
disagree with
like
that.
it's it's kind of like what I said. Like if you want to play devil's advocate, I'm sure you could say there's only a few scenes of them, and we should get more. And I would agree with that.
It's your 11 and max
Yeah,
in your list.
exactly.
That's your but yeah,
Where Yeah, exactly. Because it's not like they're always having conversations, but like season one, the flashbacks to should I stay or should I go? Amazing. Season two,
yeah.
everything with them is so good. Season four, the one conversation they have where he's basically saying that he understands that he's different, calling back the time that he had something stuck in his nose and everything. Amazing. Like it's so great. He's such a great big brother to Will. I really
Hmm.
just wish we got to see that more in season five. And
I
even
agree
even
with
more in
you.
like three and four, but especially season five.
Yeah, just knowing and the coming out scene kind of and you know an underrated duo that was for like an episode was the Robin and Will kind of duo. It's
Mhm.
probably not on your list. It's not on mine. Just to see that and then in the coming out scene when it goes to Robin and then it shows Jonathan, I think it was great. I think that was really great.
Yeah, having Jonathan be the first person to say, I think he said the line, "You're not going to lose me," and then everyone started saying, "Or me, or me, or me, or me." But and then he
Hmm.
goes up and hugs Will first. Like they got that right at least.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So you that was Will and Jonathan as your three.
Correct.
So my two is again the season three biased. It's Robin and Steve for
Love
me.
it.
It's Robin and
Love it.
Steve. I love it, and you know not only season three biased, but I am an avid Uma Thurman fan. I love the Kill Bills and I love Pulp Fiction, and obviously, if you don't know, Maya Hawke is Uma Thurman's daughter who plays Robin. So I didn't even know that to start the show. When I started season three, I had no idea. Holy shit, that's her daughter because you know she was married to Ethan Hawke, but Uma Thurman's too iconic of a name just to go to Uma Hawke. So Robin and Steve for me, it's the dip or what was it? Dingus. And oh, your 046 Popeye is one of my favorite. That kind of scene, anything in Scoops Ahoy is cinema for me. It's just stupid. It's stupid in a terrific way. You
Scoop's
know,
true.
it's funny. Scoop Troop, one of the best. I wish we if we did a like a squad ranking. I was thinking about that. Scoop Troop would be at the top of my list, but just definitely to see their dynamic they have. You know, it's unpopular girl in school who's super shy, and then the most popular guy. The way they describe it in school's history, just Steve being super popular as he is always with the popular girl with Nancy in season one and some of two, being able to see them come together as a very kind of like Max and 11, how no one expected them to be a duo, but they are. You can also take that into account. The bathroom scene, another great scene when, you know, she's coming out to Steve, but Steve is like saying that he really likes her and being able that doesn't affect them at all. They're still a great duo. And then the family video at the epilogue of episode 8, I think was also another great scene between them two. So my number two is Robin and Steve.
Not gonna hate on that one because they're not on my list and they probably should be. Like I they're I don't know where I would put them, but yeah, they're a great duo. That's good. That's a good call.
Oh yeah,
I must have been thinking about them. I don't know why I didn't put them on. I should have,
yeah,
probably.
they're great. I love them, man.
Yeah. My two is Lumex. They are the best relationship in the show.
Yes,
Um, you're obviously a season three lover, so I know you know this well that Lucas has the line of "She's dumped me 5 times, and every way I've crawled my way, I've crawled my way back,"
yes,
which
love it.
which is funny and everything, but it also shows, all right, so maybe Max was a little toxic toward Lucas, and he was probably too good for her in terms of like he was the nice one and everything. But you know what? That happens when you're super young, so whatever. But then they obviously season four, the entirety of the season, he's trying to get to her, he just can't reach her. She's depressed, she's listening to Kate Bush and then eventually he saves her life, and then they have the amazing moment where they can't talk in the Creel house, so she draws the picture of them in the movie theater. We finally get that payoff in the finale. So it's and then she's there every single day for like 18 months, waiting
Yeah.
for her to wake up out of the coma. So it's incredible. I think they're so good. I think they're easily the best relationship in the show.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I don't like I said, I don't have any relationships on here, but I would say Jopper is a second relationship in the show behind them. I do agree Lumax is the best. They were endgame since the beginning. When you're young like that and you got a girl saying like, "Oh, you're a stalker," or kind of bullying you in a nice way, you're kind of like, okay, well, the immature mind of when they're in middle school, you don't think that, but you look back on it and you're like, okay, that was a little bit of flirting there. So it was definitely foreshadowed in their dance at the snowball where Lucas is practicing in the mirror and you see Erica and he's like, I love you, Lukey, or something like that. I just think it's just a great scene and it's got build up to season four where one of the saddest scenes in the entire show. We'll get more into that later. Is when Max dies for a few seconds and Elle, brings her back to life. But the soundtrack, when it's called "Our Life to Die," they played that a few times in the show, but it was just so. It pulled on my heartstrings, definitely. But I think that's what makes them a great couple.
You want to do our collective number one on a 3, 2, 1 countdown because it's
Oh,
obviously the same.
100%. We're gonna say the older guy first, so it
Okay,
doesn't.
okay,
So
good.
we don't. Three, two,
Two,
one.
one. Steve and
Steve
Dustin.
and Dustin. Yes. Okay. Easily the
Why were
best
you
duo in the
waiting?
show
Why didn't you just do it
because
with
you were delayed
me?
on my end. You were delayed on my end.
Uh,
But it's yeah, it looked weird. It sounded weird. But Steve and Dustin, Dustin and Steve, Dave and Stustin, Stustin and Dave, however the hell you want to put it. Best duo in the show. We don't need if you watch Stranger Things, you know. There's not
yep.
many people that combat that. There's not a duo that combats that. I don't think it's close. I really don't think it's close. Um, it's two of my favorite characters in the show. They're both in my top four. They're both in your top four as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're just incredible. Scoop's Troop, and one of my favorite scenes. It's 5 seconds, but when he's in college and he runs out to the RV and Steve is there and they're going on a trip, I'm like, dude, that is just awesome. I love that. And there was some rocky parts in season five when they had their scuffle in Hawkins' lab in the Upside Down, but I think both of them were right, but also both of them were wrong. If you're
Yep.
getting what I'm saying, like Steve was right,
Show does
but
that really
wrong for
well.
it does.
Does that really
Steve
well.
was right, but wrong for saying it because he knows how vulnerable he was. Dustin was wrong for pushing it off, but right for kind of coming to amends to it. And when they're going up the stairs and Steve is so pissed, they have that scene where Dustin's like, I can't lose you again. I can't lose him again. I just think it's peak. So that's no explanation needed, but Steve and Dustin number one.
Yep. How they help each other, how they um yeah, no, it's amazing. And then he ends up saving Steve's life by pulling him back because the ladder breaks, which is phenomenal. So I I'm obsessed with them. They're pretty
Mm-hmm.
great.
So the next one we're going to get into, there's a lot less of these, so there's a lot less explanation to them. We're going to get to villains. I've got five villains here. Um, I'm going to start off number five. I've got the Russians. They're just the villains of my favorite season. They're kind
Do
of
we
backseated.
do you want to just roll through this one? I feel like
Let's do it.
yeah,
Let's do it.
I just because I think we have a lot more fun things to actually delve into. Unless
Yeah.
you are obsessed with all the villains. I
No.
okay, yeah.
No. So I've got you just want to go me do my five and you do your five.
No, no, you
Five, five,
five,
four,
five. Yeah,
four.
yeah, yeah. We'll do that. Yeah.
Russians.
Demobats.
Oh, I okay.
Oh, you
Mind
didn't do
Flayer.
any of the creatures?
No, I did. Mind
Okay.
Flayer.
Mind Flayer's 4, yeah.
Dr. Brenner.
Okay, I'll change mine a little bit. I'll say Demogorgons are 3.
Okay. Demogorgons are two for me.
2, I originally split up Henry and Vecna, but I'll combine them and I'll do Vecna for 2.
Okay. Vecna is my number one.
My number 1 is then Brenner. I didn't even include him because Brenner's my one. He's the best.
Yeah.
Brenner is the best villain of the show.
The only reason I say Vecna is because um there's just too much groundwork after Brenner's death. That's really about it. That's at the end of the season. Vecna's the big bad villain. I mean, in the physical form, really. I know the Mind Flayer technically is, but the guy that does the killing is mainly Vecna. It's in his physical form, so that's why I got Vecna my number one. And Doctor Brenner is definitely an easy
Yeah,
explanation there.
none
So
of it happens without Brenner, so that's
correct.
why I'm
Yep.
having number one.
I'm
Well, yeah,
glad none of us even mentioned Doctor K or Akers. I think they're kind of shitty villains. They're just unbeknownst, but that's who they are. So
or the Terminator in your precious season three.
I said Russians,
Oh, you just said evil. Oh, in general, even evil Russians.
just Russians,
Just
just the
just the Russians.
but I should have said Russians without Alexei, post Alexei
Of
Russians.
course. Rest
Yeah.
in peace.
So again, I've got Russians, Mind Flayer, Brenner, Demogorgon, and Vecna in your top five.
Is Demobat, or I'm going bottom up right. So Demobat's
Mhm.
Mind Flayer, Demogorgon's Vecna Brenner.
Yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and get into something that we don't really need to spend too much time on, but we can if we want. We're ranking the women. We're next up. We're gonna go from villains to women. Just I felt like I had to include it. The inspiration. I watched a few videos on this ranking. Some guys just having fun like we are, and they included it, so I thought we would as well. My number five. I've got Cara Buono, plays Karen Wheeler.
Number five, I'm going. No offense to her, but I couldn't think of anybody else. I'm going Maya Hawk. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's kind
Like
of where I
she's
was with my number five. But I've got number four. I've got Natalia Dyer, who's Nancy Wheeler.
number four, Carabona.
Okay, number three. I got Maya Hawk.
Oh, okay. Number three, I have Sadie Sink.
Okay, number two. I have Sadie Sink.
Number two, I have Natalia Dyer.
Okay, so our number ones are the same.
I guess, unless you're
Millie Bobby Brown.
no.
Interesting. Okay, well, Millie's my number
Oh yeah,
one. Who's
because you
your
said she was your crush. For me, maybe it's the lip filler, but I don't know. Doesn't do it.
dude? I'm thinking.
There are some.
I had to exclude season five, my guy. I
There
had
are
to exclude
some.
season
I no.
five.
I will say that yes, there are some pictures where I think she's very attractive, but I'm saying there are some pictures or like I don't know that are like fine. They're
Who the
good.
hell is no? I know. I understand. Who the hell's your number one? Hold on, don't say it.
You're not gonna get it because it's not like a main character or anything. We're doing
Oh,
anybody from the show, right?
I guess.
I thought that's what we
Let
were doing.
Let's hear it.
It's Madeline Klein.
Oh, you son of a bitch! She's in this. She's in the show for 3 seconds.
Yeah, but
Get
she's in
at.
the show.
She's in the show. She's in the show. That was the rules.
That's
She's in
why
the
I was
show.
asking beforehand. We're doing actresses, right? Because nobody knows her character's name or anything, but she's in the show.
I think she just has the girl hitting on Billy, number one or number two, or
Yeah.
girl that looks at Billy or something like that. So, yeah, just a fun little snippet, just to kind of that's kind of stepping away from the show and stepping into real life. But all right, and one of my favorite things in the show about the show is the music.
Yep.
I think the music brings it together, and this is like pop culture songs. We're not doing score. Did we preface that?
We didn't, but I have two scores both as honorable mentions.
Okay, so yeah, I'll do my honorable mentions as scores. Eulogy and Soldiers are my two honorable mentions. Soldiers is you. They're both from season two. Season two's got a great score, but Eulogy and Soldiers. I don't think I can put it in this video due to copyright. So if you want to listen to it, Apple Music, YouTube, Eulogy and Soldiers, both from the soundtrack.
Remind me what eulogies from season two also you said?
Yeah, they're both from season two.
Okay. Uh,
I think that's my favorite score. So what I'm curious what your two is.
I guess, okay, I'll just give you my two. One of them is Kids, but it's the final version. So
Oh
obviously,
yeah,
Kids is
the
made
piano.
by Dixon and Stein, but Dan Romer did the score for Kids, the final scene of the entire show. And like you said, yeah, the piano, it's
Mhm.
absolutely beautiful. It's the end of the entire series, and they couldn't have played better music, in my opinion. It's not released for some reason on Spotify or Apple, but if you go on YouTube and look up kids, or I believe it's called I Believe Dan Romer, awesome.
It's
And
great.
then the other one, help me with this because I can't find the name of it. It's the score that's playing for Henry's monologue in season 4.
I don't know what that's called, but that is
It's
terrifying.
awesome. It's
It's
phenomenal.
great. It's terrific. I agree with you. I think that's great. Um, yeah, you got to open your cap there, bud.
I thought I left it open. I usually leave it open so it doesn't have the clink when I close it. That's why I was.
Yeah, I agree, man. Those are just great pieces. Yeah, and when it's cold, I like to die. I know that's technically a pop. That's a song, right?
Well, that's my number five.
Oh, okay, cool. So, well, okay, my number five is Material Girl Madonna. We talked about it earlier. It's the scene where they're in the mall shopping 11 and Max.
Also, I will say the way I ranked it is how they're used in Stranger Things, not necessarily the best songs they use. So it's like the execution
Okay,
of the song usage. Otherwise, it would just be looking at all the songs and saying, which song do I think is the best in it? Where, like, if I don't like the execution of said song, it's not going to mean anything to me. I don't really care. So
okay.
that's how I use it execution wise.
I did a little bit of a combo now that I'm looking at it. I originally ranked it as like what songs are used in the show that are my favorite, but I also tapped in like when there was a tie between two songs, what is used better in the show, and that's what bumped it over for me. So your number five was When It's Cold I Like to Die, correct?
Yep.
My number four is going to be Master of Puppets by Metallica. I think it's used great. It gives Eddie, his heroic moment before he does eventually die a few minutes later. And I'm a guitar player, so I learned that when it came off the show. I tried my best. I now know how to play it, which is pretty cool. But it took me a while. It took me, what is it, almost 2.5 years or 2 years and 8 months, whatever. But that's my number four, Master of Puppets by Metallica. Used, like I said, in season four.
My number four is Cold as Ice by Foreigner. I like, even though I like Malevolent, when they break up because of the whole Hopper situation and then Mike's lying and everything. And then immediately it comes in. Oh, it's so good. It's so perfectly used. And then your one of your favorite duos, Max and Eleven, are on the bus. And then of course they turn to each other and smile and yeah, high five.
Yeah.
So I think it's only played for like 15 seconds, but it's fan I love the usage so much.
Yeah, I agree with you here. And my number three, I think you're gonna have higher. I got Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush in season four. I do think it is probably I mean, it's a great usage in the show, but the lyrics, man, they just hit you hard. They really do. It's exactly what Max is going through, and it's just a perfect song for her situation. So, Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, obviously used various points in season four. The best usage was episode four, Dear Billy, during that beautiful montage. We'll talk about that later, but that's my number three.
That's also my number three.
All right,
So
cool. Is the
yeah,
same
so
reasons?
yeah, same. It's great in lyrics and also it's awesome because the song went number one during that entire time during 2022, and it was pretty special. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great. My number two is just using this past season, by one of, if not the greatest musician to ever grace the face of the earth, is Purple Rain by Prince. I'm thinking back to sitting upstairs in my TV room with my little brother Connor, who I believe you've met once, possibly.
I think so.
Shout out Connor if you're watching. Thank you for making it this far in the video. When Dove's Cry was used great, I honestly just didn't know the song as well as Purple Rain. I love the guitar riff at the beginning. I think it does match the kind of upbeat, happy vibes of they just defeated Vecna, they're going home. Um, and then just the first chord in Purple Rain, the first note when they're having their moment in the void, it just plucks on the heartstrings every time. I was like, oh, they're gonna do it, and they did it, and I think they executed it great. I think it's the best usage of a song in the entire show. My number one is just one of my favorite songs ever that happened to be used as well in the show. So Purple Rain by Prince, like I said, used in season five. The finale is my number two.
Unfortunately, gonna have to disagree with you there. I think
Okay.
it's obviously it's a great song. I'm not disputing that. And then when the chord kicks in and they start doing the flashbacks, it's great. For some reason, for me, it didn't take me out of it because it's still a sad scene. But I think I would have preferred something a little bit slower, like a um when it's cold I'd like to die-esque kind of song that's very sad. It's supposed to be the saddest moment of the entire show. That's what they were going for. And I feel like if another song was used that was maybe slower or maybe more heartbreaking or more heartfelt or something like that, I probably would have cried or something. I didn't shed a single tear during that moment, and I feel like I should have, as someone who loves
Interesting.
Eleven, as someone who loves Al, who really likes Mike. Um, I
It
feel
was the
like
only scene in the entire show I actually cried. There
that
was a
was the
few that I got teary eyed in a few, but like there was I needed Kleenex. That was the only thing, and I think it's because my aunt had a Prince CD, and my little brother we'd listened to it when I was younger, so it helps that I knew the song already. And I just thought about an honorable mention I didn't say. Two of them, I apologize. The Trooper by Iron Maiden is used during Dustin's speech at the graduation, and then At Last by Etta James is used in Enzo's, which I think those are two uses. There's a lot of good music in this show, and it's the 80s, so you can't expect anything different. So, and
and
what's your
I
number two?
well, I knew the song. Everyone knows Purple Rain. Like I knew the song before. Obviously not as well as you did, and you, I'm sure, like Prince more and have heard the song more and are more connected to that and everything. So that makes sense. For me, I just kind of I again, it didn't take me out of it. Still good. I just feel like I should have felt more there, and that's what music does. Music helps make you feel certain things.
Mhm.
They're supposed to be very impactful, and for me, I just didn't think it was perfect. Whereas so many choices, every choice on this list for me, I feel was like a perfect song choice. So that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I can agree to that. And I definitely think watching it, the shock factor, nobody probably thought they were going to go back to back Prince with that. I think that I had pointed out is um, I love that they chose the Purple Rain record to use because Purple it was released in '84 and obviously the season was '87, so it wasn't fresh, but it was still like it was fucking it was Prince, and he was just such a huge pop star. Um, One thing I do wish they used Michael Jackson. They didn't use him. They used him once, I think, in season two for a trailer. I think they used Thriller, but I think they could have used him a lot more because
No, they
it.
used season five, Rock and Robin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That was, but I was thinking like released at the time
Mm.
because Thriller came out in '82, season one was '83, and his best the one out. I'm gonna be a nerd here for music. The album with the most number one hits, which is Bad, which had five, came out 1987, which is when season five takes place. I think they would have thrown it in. Maybe 11 played it because, or I'm sorry, not 11. When Robin played it, there was one of them. It's like, and now a new favorite of ours. I was like, holy shit, is it going to be bad? Is it going to be something? Is it going to be Dirty Diana, Smooth Criminal? And it wasn't. I forget what song it was. I thought them working at a radio station, there could have been a lot more needle drops. Is the one thing I was a tad upset about with season five is the lack of music before the final episode because there was a lot of great needle drops in the final episode, like I mentioned, the Trooper at last, Purple Rain, that When Doves Cry. I think they should have done more with the WSQK kind of thing.
I hear you. My number two, Separate Ways by Journey. Uh, that was the coolest thing.
The remix.
Yeah, whatever was used at the end of Papa, at the end of episode eight,
Yeah,
season
oh yeah.
four, that was just absolutely fantastic. That's what I wanted to feel in season five. I wanted to
Yep.
feel the urgency, the stakes, and everything. And it's just like they capture that so well just from using Separate Ways.
And
Phenomenal.
they should have. You remember this when they're riding in the RV and they've got Separate Ways playing. Was there music playing when they were riding in the van going into the Upside Down? Was there music?
No.
I wish they should have used something. What I thought they were going to use is something like by Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd or Queen, because they had mentioned that there was a song which ended up being Purple Rain that had never been used and had never been licensed. It was used in the movie Purple Rain, but had never been licensed out
Mm.
to a TV show. I think they could have gotten away with Another Brick in the Wall. I think it fits the story of Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd, fits with the kids kind of trapped in Vecna's mind in the music video. The kids are trapped in school and it's like a system. I think they could have used Another Brick in the Wall. Stairway to Heaven could have been used, or maybe Immigrant Song that was used in Thor Ragnarok, as you know, as a Marvel guy. There's just a lot of music choices that I think they could have gone above and beyond with, which I was, as a music geek, if you couldn't tell, I was a tad upset about or eked out about.
Yeah, for me, separate ways, like you said with Purple Rain, that's the best usage in the show for me. And then my number one isn't necessarily like the best usage, but it's easily my favorite. And it probably is. Did you already say your number one? No, right?
I want to hear yours
So
though. I'm
it's
intrigued.
got, I think it's gonna be the same thing.
What
I
is
don't
it?
know. What's your, no, you say yours first.
I want you to say yours.
It's a song by Gaten Matarazzo
No,
and Suzy Poo. Oh, really? What's yours?
mine is "Every Breath You Take" by the Police.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's, yeah,
I
classic, yeah.
like I had said, I had going into it, I was ranking based off of how my first, it was like a first cut, second cut thing. My first cut was what are my favorite songs used in the show. In Separate Ways was in that cut. There was a few other songs in that cut. And then I looked at it, how much do I enjoy the usage of it? Separate Ways, I don't know what was going through my mind when I didn't include it. I think that's, now that you mention it, that's probably the best usage of a song, because not only is it that, I mean, the song came out in 81, it is that 80s feel, and the tensions are high, and the remake and the remix is incredible. It's great. I don't know why I didn't include it, but Every Breath You Take, I love that song so much. And I'll be watching, and it flips into the upside down, and the mind flares over the middle school. That's what I thought was really cool about it. And I just love the Police, and I love that song. So that's my number one, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally valid. It's classic. It was fantastic.
You're damn
Um,
right it's valid, Noah.
yeah, no, it is. Mine, I thought you were gonna rank this because you're a season three guy, but Never Ending Story is so like it's so Stranger Things because it's like, what the hell's going on? This giant monster chasing us, and we have to like it was just so awesome.
And
Oh,
as crazy as this gets, I think the rendition's great, but I think the reactions from everybody else
yeah,
are so much better. I
I
think
know.
that's what makes the
That's what
scene
makes
even
the
more.
usage even better. I know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I mean, it's there's so many different ways you can look at the list. You can look at what songs top the charts more, what songs were the best, what were the best selling, what were the best usage. So our list they both got a good mixture of them in our list. I think those lists are great.
that's
So
fair.
next thing we move into is locations.
Okay.
Locations in
Let's do
the
this
season.
quickly.
Yep.
Unless,
Loca-
oh, wait, actually, I have a question
What's your question?
because I probably should have clarified this before. When you said locations, did you mean like spots in Hawkins or just locations used in the show, if that makes sense?
Mine are five spots in Hawkins,
Ah,
but
okay.
I mean, what do you mean by that?
I did not do five spots. I
Like,
kind
did
of,
you like do Hawkins, Russia,
yeah,
California, Chicago?
yeah, basically,
Oh
basically.
shit.
I
Um,
probably could have assumed that's not what you meant. Because man, my list is awful because because it's like Hawkins. So I'll give it's Hawkins, the upside down, and then three places that aren't even like awesome.
okay.
Wait, but
Um,
you included the upside down, I'm sure.
I did not.
Oh, that's the best
I
look.
did
That's
not.
either that or
Uh,
Hawkins.
yeah, I really, I don't know why.
I feel
Really,
like we both kind of screwed the pooch with this.
well, anyways, I'll just run through mine.
Yeah, yeah,
My five:
run through yours.
the Wheeler Basement Creel House, Hawkins High slash Middle. I kind of merged them into one. Hawkins Lab, Starcourt Mall. Again, season three
So
bias.
Starcourt's number one. Okay, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
as it should be. Yeah,
So we'll just run through that real quick again. You did yours as Hawkins in the Upside Down number one, of course.
and then Russia three, Abyss
Calif.
four,
Oh,
California five.
okay,
I
that's
don't.
hey, shit happens.
Oh well.
What can you think of five off your dome? Do you have some like just rap like maybe two favorites in Hawkins?
What was your two?
Hawkins Lab.
Okay. Starcourt, I feel like has to be one.
I mean, you got the pool. Not a lot of happens there, but it's a
Mm.
location. Um, different houses.
No, not Hop's Cabin. It's cool, but
That's in there. I mean, you can throw it in there. That's a location, sure.
Mr. Clark class. I'm doing it. I
The
don't care.
A the AV Club. Mr.
Yeah.
Clark's AV Club and
Yeah.
the Starcourt Mall. Love it.
Sure.
And this is where it gets juicy. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to seasons.
Seasons.
We're
This
we're
is
gonna.
another thing that we should just run through.
I think we can run through
Like
this
not in a bad
easy.
way, not in a bad way, but like in a like
Yeah,
yeah.
I've got at number five, season five.
I also have season 5 at number 5.
And let's clarify, this is how much we like them as viewers, correct?
Yeah, yeah. This is favorite more so than well, it's interesting. It's favorite more so than best, but also best is it's always intertwined a little bit.
Of course. None of these are bad. Let me preface that.
Yep.
There is a gap between five and four. My number five and my number four. My number four is season two.
Okay. You're not gonna like this. My number 4 is season 3.
I completely understand the slander. I really do. It's just because that's what I started off with. I understand it. A lot of people don't like it. It's probably the most hated episode in the or most hated episode. Oh my gosh, I'm having a stroke. Most hated season in the show aside from five. A lot of people don't like it because they
I feel
just
like
think it
2 gets a
was
lot of hate,
two does get a lot of hate,
which
but
is insane.
people got to be realistic. Three doesn't do a lot to the storyline. If I'm
It's
being real,
it's the most
it's
unlike Stranger Things. It's happy. It's the vibes are cool.
that's why I
It's
like it.
4th of July. It's it's America themed and everything.
Yeah,
But
and that helped me convince my parents to let me watch it because it was a lot less dark than one and two. Because you got to think,
also
I wasn't
there's
old
the
like you
what do you say?
in 2019. I wasn't old like you. I was 13
I
years
was
old.
your age. I was your age right now when I first watched Stranger Things for the first time. Isn't that
Wait,
crazy?
in 2021?
Yeah, I
How
was
old are
20.
you in 2019?
How old was I in
19?
2018?
18? Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
All
old.
right. Episode or number three. I've got season four.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Number 3, I have season 2.
Okay. Number two, I've got season one.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know. Number 2, I have season 4.
And my number one, as you know,
Season
season
3.
three. And as I know, yours is.
Season 1. Season
Yeah,
1, the
just
OG.
cinema. And I believe you know this, but probably someone who's watching this doesn't. See, it was supposed to be a one and done. The show was supposed to be one season and it was done, which I think it could have been. It could have been perfect, but they left a little door open for season two, but it was shut just enough to be like, oh, they can. Is the mind flayer still in Will, or did he just cough up a slug? There's a lot of different ways you could look at, but I definitely think that it was a great season. I think it's the best season. Again, not my favorite, but the best seasons are one and four, but my favorite, like I said, is season three.
I also don't want to make it seem like I don't like season 3. I do love season 3. There are parts I love.
No, I
Scooch Troop
understand.
is awesome. Um, when they meet up, the finale's awesome. There's so much I love about it. Some of the Billy stuff, it felt like every episode ended the same, where we were seeing the dark cave and people walking there and the monster, and it just felt like every episode ended the same, and it was like getting a little repetitive. And also the Jonathan and Nancy plotline, aside from the one scene in the car where they're having actually like a good conversation, where they're both technically right and both technically wrong, not a good plotline.
Weak.
Boring, didn't care for it at all. The fight in the hospital, didn't really enjoy that at all. So yeah,
Now, the
there's a lot I
only
didn't like.
thing I will say is it was one of the first proofs of the hive mind, how they are connected. Because when Tom is about to kill Jonathan, Nancy hits Bruce with the fire extinguisher, and Tom gets hit too. So I do think that was the positive thing about it. Kind of, do you know what I'm saying?
No, because we already knew the hive mind of season 2
No, I'm
when
saying
Will.
it just no, like it affects the hive that it's still there. Like just because they burned it out of Will, like it's still very
Oh,
well a threat. It
okay,
kind of strengthens how scary it is. And after the hospital monster's taken care of, goes down into the sewer, and Billy's talking to, and it's time. I'm like, I think there's a lot of negatives, and I think there's positives, but I tend to look more at the positives.
got it. Makes sense.
All right, so we're going to get into some fun stuff here. Maybe not so fun stuff. We're going to go the saddest scenes
Why would you do that?
in the show.
Why would
In
you
the
do that?
show, Just because it has to be talked about, and I'm
There were
very
like
we.
yeah, there were like three categories. Two of them are very fun, one of them sad, and you were like, we're gonna get into
Well,
the fun stuff.
I don't want. That's why I want to end on a sad. So let's we got three things left,
I
correct?
think. I could be wrong.
Saddest scenes, best scenes, episodes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
correct.
Just
Yep.
making sure we're on the same page.
Yep.
So we'll
Yep.
go saddest scenes. I
Cool.
have one honorable mention for each category. Do you have that as well, or no?
No, because I absolutely struggled for saddest scenes. I added one. I realistically it's a top four, and I added one in there because it's a top five list. So I was struggling to find saddest. For I don't have any honorable. Yeah, I guess
Interesting.
let's talk about it because my number five for saddest scenes, I wasn't like that distraught about it all.
Interesting. Okay, so my honorable mention we talked about it earlier is the failsafe when Hopper's talking about it. Um, 11 sees it on him, and I think that's a pretty sad scene. It's a short-lived scene, but I think it got the emotions going for me because you don't know what's going on because they he goes in, he shuts the door, and you don't see him for about another half episode or 75% of an episode. So it was pretty sad. So then I'll go into my five if you don't have an honorable mention.
Go for it.
My five is I did this twice, kind of putting these two together is Eddie's death, but I combine that with Dustin informing his uncle about it.
Mm.
I kind of put those into because they go hand in hand, you know what I'm saying? And they go hand in hand for me. So, like I said, being a guitar player that I am seeing, oh, I really like Eddie. This Eddie dude is sick. He just shredded a solo. He's a badass. Then he goes back in and he dies. And like I said, Steve is right. He doesn't die for anything because Max ended up dying and the gates opened anyways. So that's my number five is Eddie's death slash Dustin telling Alan about it at the back in Hawkins.
My number five is Bob Newby's death.
It didn't really affect me that bad either. I don't have it on my list at
Like
all.
again, I'm just forcing in, and I was thinking about Eddie's death, obviously, and I like Eddie. I don't know. Bob's death is my number five. I did like Bob a lot, and it was really
Mhm.
good that after
Really,
their
he
dad
gives really bad advice.
to William,
Oh yeah, he gave
he
bad
didn't
advice.
know. He didn't
I
know.
know, I know, I know.
Yeah, and he
Oh, so
literally.
you do like Bob? You're
I
defending
do like
Bob.
Bob. I do. I like Bob a lot. He's the one who helped find out that the map in the house is Hawkins, and
That's Lover's Lake.
they end up
How
finding Jim
Joyce was
because of
not
it.
able to see that was kind of shocking to me, or Hopper, because they both
Because
lived in Hawkins. I was curious to how they didn't find that out.
But why would they think that that was Hawkins? Like, what? Like, maybe we, the viewers, would think that. Why would they think,
Well,
oh,
because they lived there. I figured maybe they would have seen it, and maybe so because the reason
it's hard in
uh,
that situation to take a step back and like try to think because they didn't even know there was a map to something. They just
what's Bob Newby's nickname?
Rob the Brain, right?
Bob the
Yeah.
Brain founded the AV Club, and when you walk in, if you do go see the first Shadow, when you walk in, he is a radio host, and he's
That's
over the
cool.
radio. And I don't know what the station is called. I don't think it's WSQK. It very well could be, but he's the host of the radio. They play some songs in there from obviously the '50s. But move on to my number four. Um, I could have put this in best, but it is more emotional. Joyce and Hopper finding Will in the season one finale. I think the sad part of that scene is obviously the score that happens, but also when Hopper has the flashbacks to his daughter Sarah and being intubated in the hospital. I think it's very emotional because there is there for a second where you don't know is Will alive because he does CPR on him, does the 30 pumps. Joyce gives him the mouth to mouth and he just doesn't budge. So there is that. Is he really dead? Because he looks lifeless. He's pale. He's got black eye. It looks like he's got makeup on. So that's my number four, Joyce and Hopper finding Will, and that all goes hand in hand with kind of 11 going missing because they go back and forth. It's kind of similar to um, when Lucas and Max and Robin and Vicky are escaping the Demogorgons in the hospital, and then Max and Holly are escaping the mine. They go kind of back and forth, so they go hand in hand. But I chose to go with Joyce and Hopper finding Will as my number four.
Maybe we should have made this emotional scenes because that's not sad. Or it is a little sad, but it's not like that's heartwarming and that's a happy moment that they're able to find Will. And it's heartwarming that Hopper was thinking about Sarah and he's able to save Will. He's able to save this kid. That's like a positive, happy, like awesome. You feel amazing for Hopper. And it's sad, but like it's also very, very heartwarming.
I don't. Really can't say I feel amazing for Hopper because I think he was like, oh shit, if I can do this for one kid, why can't I? Why couldn't I have done it for mine?
True.
I took the route of making it sad. I know a lot of them are kind of emotional, but they are. It is more emotional. I get what you're saying there,
I
but
mean, I've
um,
my next one or my number three isn't really sad. It's more emotional anyway. So I was trying to, I see your point.
and what was your number four?
My number four is when Will said in season two, "I just want this to be over," and started crying in Joyce's arms. I don't honestly, I remember the clip because they showed it in the finale right before it was over because Joyce chopped off his head, which was dope.
Yeah,
Um, so I don't remember everything that happened during that specific scene. I just know that I would have definitely been sad seeing Will going through all this trauma during season two and like going to his mom's arms. Like that's very sad.
yeah, that's one thing I do regret about. I bet you do too. I mean, you can't really regret it, but not being an OG watcher, being able to grow up with the show and watch it for the first time in 2016. Like, what is this? This is. I mean, I remember seeing a tweet that got reposted. It was like missing child in a small town in Midwest USA, starring Winona Ryder, streaming now. And I was like, it turned, and then that, and then it's the biggest one of, if not the biggest show in Netflix history. You could make an argument for all of TV. So being able to see the evolution from that would have been cool, but me and you being the newbies. But here we are making a podcast, so it definitely had a positive effect on both of ours lives. And as we move on to number three, mine is again Eddie death and telling Alan is a hand in hand is Hopper's death in the end of season three, and then 11 reading his letter. I kind of put those hand in hand just to mention both of them. No explanation needed. The fear of the unknown, Hopper might be dead, and once Joyce felt Hopper's pocket, and I felt the paper, I was like, holy shit, it's the paper. And then 11 walks around the corner and Joyce gives it to her. And she goes down and sits down. And I believe it's a rendition of Heroes. It's Peter Gabriel's version that played in season one, episode three, Holly Jolly. They found Will's body. That was a beautiful use of the sad, uh, tear jerking song in that. And the more I rewatch that, the more emotional and um, it just shows me how much I love the show. So number two, or excuse me, number three for me is Hopper's death slash 11 reading the letter.
Number three for me is the final scene of the show, which again, I don't even know if I would consider that sad per se. I would consider it like emotional, obviously, and heartwarming, and they're saying goodbye and everything. And it's sad because we're saying goodbye to all these characters in the show and everything. But either way, it was very cool to see, and I think it's a fantastic final scene. Like they couldn't have drawn up anything, couldn't have written anything better than that final scene, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did not include that to be frank with you. I went ahead with my number two is 11's final goodbye to Mike at the end of season five.
Mm.
Um, that was one of the saddest scenes for me because it was like saying goodbye to a piece of my child. I mean, you had mentioned that I'm younger than you, so I'm more, more of my childhood per se, and opposed to yours. Um, for the first time watching, I was like, holy shit, this is happening. And she was adamant about it. And you see her, they have that one moment of happiness, Mike and Dustin. She escaped. Mike smiles, and then he looks to his left and he sees her in the portal. I'm like, oh, oh man. And the purple rain sequence, like I said, that first note got me. And it was just so beautiful and so sad. But I think it was also a pretty cinematic scene as well, my number two.
My number two, I'm assuming is your number one. It is the Erica help scene. Or maybe it's not your number one, but either way, it's when Lucas is crying, Caleb is giving an incredible performance, and
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Max is dying in season four, and then she dies for like a minute. Um, very so sad. So sad because again, I told you how I love Lucas and Max and their relationship, and her dying in his arms is just
Mm.
like I don't even know. I don't think no explanation needed. Just like heartbreaking.
And I kept a poker face, but that is my number one. That
Okay.
is in my opinion, the saddest scene in the show. I'm curious to see what your number one is. For the reasons you mentioned, the one you didn't mention about this is one that's called "I Like to Die." Again, it's just a
Yep.
um, perfect song use. But for someone who didn't want to be emotional about it, it's a sad song use as well, being the impact of it, but also you do get to see Eleven still being able to use her powers and thankfully bring her back to life. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Erica Help was improvised by Caleb.
It
I
was.
don't think that was in the script. And then, because that's Priya Ferguson's genuine reaction when she came up and around, and their performances are great. And um, yeah, that's in my opinion the saddest scene in the show.
Yeah, for me, not even close. There is a huge gap between one and two. Like the saddest scene in the show, the most emotional scene in the show, with head and shoulders above anything else, is something that you already mentioned earlier in your list. It's the Hopper letter, and it's Elle crying. Like I told you earlier in the episode, I was right over there, and I was like, I easily the most I've cried over Stranger Things, um, because obviously
God, I'm getting chills, man, just thinking about this.
Hopper was acting, insane, irrational. He goes to Joyce for help because obviously he has a thing for Joyce and no more Bob in the picture. Um, and he asks her about like the heart to heart situation. He's like, "This is how you write a heart to heart," and the whole season goes by, and we kind of forget about the whole thing because he doesn't give a heart to heart, and we have more important shit to deal with, right?
It's your grandma.
Awesome. What a
Oh,
badass.
so great.
So,
There's
your
nothing
grandma
wrong
in
with Nana. Oh,
and
just a great sequence. Yeah.
yeah, no. But then obviously at the end, Hopper is thought to be dead, and then finally you hear the voiceover. I'm sure you've seen TikToks or videos, wherever, YouTube shorts, whatever, about like us growing up while watching the show, the characters growing up, and it's like Hopper's speech is to us, it's to everyone. Oh, it's incredible, so good. And then Elle crying after that. Just every time I watch that,
Yeah.
you could already tell probably from from a lot of things I've said what I have as one of my favorite episodes in the show because I feel like I've talked about so many scenes from the season 3 finale. Uh, it's amazing, amazing.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Um, Seeing the impact of that, and again, I think that was Millie Bobby Brown's genuine reaction to the letter. I don't think, obviously, they wanted her to cry during that, but I really think it was just a great, very impactful scene for the show and the effect of it. I really do believe it showed the impact that Hopper indirectly had on Eleven because, excuse me, didn't give the heart to heart, but still has the effect on her as a human because she isn't one when she's first introduced, like she's an alien, pretty much. She doesn't know how to talk. She like doesn't have emotions, doesn't have any like common sense at all. But being to see that character development into that scene leading up to it, like this is my real father, my big time father figure, and he's gone, and the letter happened. So it's definitely a sad scene.
Want to do favorites?
I'm
Or you
down.
want to
I'm
do
down to
scenes
do
or episodes
favorites.
first? What are we ending with?
We're gonna end with episodes, so we're gonna
Okay.
go saddest scenes to these are best slash favorites. What did you classify them as?
I classified them as favorites.
Okay, I did a little bit mix of both. First off, my honorable
Same,
mention
same, same.
is I did Battle of Starcourt because it's like a 20-minute kind of jumbled scene. So I don't know if because
Actually,
you can consider uh you can include Neverending Story technically because Hopper and they're in Starcourt. So there's just too. I think there was too many like loose ends to consider this a scene. So I did put it as honorable mention. Wanted to give my credits to Battle of Starcourt, but Just started off, my number five is the Master of Puppets scene in, I believe it was in the Piggyback, episode
Yep.
9. Just a great scene. I've talked about it earlier. Just the character, how loved he was, and he has his heroic moment. So that's my number five.
My number five, I couldn't tell you what episode it was. It would have been the first half of season one. But when Hop is trying to take out, like trying to find a bug in Joyce's house, and then he goes,
Okay,
I went to the morgue. It's a fake. You were right this whole time. Chills. Like every
dude.
single time. Because that's when it all started. That's when Hop is, mid detective case. And it's every single time that moment of him saying, I went to the morgue. You were right, Joyce. This whole time you've been right. So awesome. Because
Oh yeah,
usually in these, or not usually, but I'm sure there are a lot of shows out there where, the cops are all the dumb ones and it's always like the other people. Having the chief of police be in on trying to get to the bottom of this government conspiracy, government cover up. Such a great decision, and obviously Hop ends up being my number one character of the
yeah.
whole show. So
And
that's yeah.
another one that I slipped my mind, and you reminded me of it, is when they go into Hawkins' lab for the tapes, and they see that the tapes have it as pouring down rain. That's what they show Hop, and Hop walks out. I think it's Callahan and Powell are the two police officers who are terrible at their job. By the way, they suck at what they do. But Hop's like, "Was it raining that night?" And then Powell and Callahan both say no, and he was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And then he like flicks a cigarette like towards the camera, and it's the end of the scene. Very like maybe 8 seconds, but I think that was also pretty good. Not my number four though. My number four is my only episode from the first season, or I'm sorry, my only scene from the first season. It's when she flips the van. I
Yep.
think that
Iconic.
scene is just absolutely incredible because it's the first time, aside from her making the Lego Millennium Falcon float, we see that she means business. She has powers, and seeing the impact it had on the kids as actors, that's all they wanted to talk about in their interviews. Like, oh, they're upset because we had to go to school and we couldn't see the van flip or whatever. Obviously, for safety reasons, they couldn't be around it. But yeah, that's my number four. Just a great scene, very nostalgic as well for many Stranger Things fans. I think it's great.
Um, it's interesting. You asked me before when we talked about like the hero moments to rank seasons two, three, four. And now I'm realizing my season four one is the only one on this list. So I guess I think my season four one is my favorite, which is crazy.
Your season
But
four one is the favorite of the like mystery person arriving scene.
yeah, I
Okay,
guess because it's I have Cal. Oh, I know why. I know why. I know why it's this. It's the California crew saving Elle, but I'm looping it in with Papa's death.
got it.
So it's everything from when they were gonna shoot her and Brenner is carrying her out. Brenner gets shot, and then of course you have Jonathan and Argyle driving. And then she's over there, she's over there, she's over there. And then they save her, and then she goes to Papa. I think I know a category that we skipped. We can do it if we. Hello? What are you doing? Sorry, Aaron is rudely interrupting. Oh, sorry, this Aaron is rudely interrupting us.
Oh, what's up, Aaron?
What's up?
He's not social. He Kidding.
You guys like live? Or
No, we're not live. Are you playing Xbox here? Oh no, you're taking it upstairs. Taking it upstairs. Um,
they going well?
yeah, yeah.
Aaron, you're going to be featured. You're going to be famous.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Nice to
Enjoy
meet you,
your
Aaron.
Xbox, my friend. Nice to meet you too, Aaron.
Yeah, great name. Love it.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Don't listen to any of those takes. They suck.
No, my takes are great.
Oh man, that's good. I'm leaving that in there. I hope you know that. I'm
Good.
leaving that in there. I love that.
Okay,
But yeah,
so
I definitely agree with you. My favorite part about that scene, I didn't include it either, but is the fact that Eleven gives no remorse. He dies a terrible death. She gives him no, oh, I love you, Papa. No, it's
he asked her.
he's
He
gone.
said, "Tell me you understand that I always did this for you." And then she just didn't. She
Hmm.
said goodbye, Papa. Put his hand on his chest or put his hand up by his side. And then the score in that scene, by the way, is incredible too. Um,
Incredible. I'm gonna
so
give season four a rewatch, man. I've been avoiding it just because of the length of it, but it's incredible.
I did it. I did my entire series rewatch before season 5.
Uh huh. Yeah,
But
it's great.
that scene's great. All right, what's your three?
My number three is um great scene. It is at the end of season two when 11 closes the gate. When she is in,
Okay.
I think it's, I want to say it's in the lab where the gate is huge and you've got the Demogorgons, you've got Hopper with his AR and the flashlight, and he's shooting the Demogorgons down. And I think it's great. And she does it here, and then she goes here, and then she starts floating, and you see her little, I think they're Chuck Taylors, and she gets up, and Hopper's like astonished by her floating because you've never seen her powers like that before. And you can see the mind flayer in the gate. You can see like his silhouette in the gate right as she closes it. And then the demo once the gate gets closed, you see the Demogorgons falling, and I just think it's a great scene.
Yeah. And also she uses everything that Kali told her in the Lost Sister episode. Um, my numero trace is Will the Sorcerer
Mm.
from season 5, episode 4. I think that's I will never forget that. There are a few times I've been, whether it's in this basement, whether it's somewhere else, late at night, where I've stayed up extremely late. My number one experience is easily the Mandalorian season 2 finale when Luke shows
Don't
up.
no 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 no. I've never seen him. I've never seen it.
What? You never seen Mando? That's bad. Okay. No, I'm
So you're
kidding. It's
telling
not
me I've
bad.
got to watch it?
Have you seen Andor?
I've never seen anything Star Wars aside from
Oh,
from the movies, from this like the Star Wars episode blank movies. Never seen
jeez, you got
anything
to watch
Star
Clone
Wars.
Wars. You got to
Never
watch
seen it. Never seen Rogue One. Never seen Solo. Never seen any of
watch Rogue One and then watch Andor. That's your homework.
that. Okay. So yes, sir.
Or I guess you could do it in the opposite order, but I prefer either way. Watch both. Those should two should be on on your watch list next.
All right.
Anyway, the point is that I'm never gonna forget it. Staying up late. It was the night before Thanksgiving, so I was out with my friends, and I was the first one to leave. The episodes came out at 8 o'clock. I left at like 10:30 or 11 and I didn't want to stay out the whole night because I wanted to get. So I watched it. And finished at like 3 a.m. And then
Wow.
I was like tearing up, and I was like, "Let's fucking go!" And it was so awesome, so awesome.
Yeah,
So
I remember exactly where I was with that as well. It was November
yep.
26th, 2025. The New York Knicks were in town playing the Charlotte Hornets at the Spectrum Center, and I was there.
Back when the Knicks were
And
playing well.
yeah, well, they're up 35-32 right now on the Warriors,
That's good.
with no Brunson. So I'm kind of scared about that. But Knicks ended up winning. I remember I went last year. They won by a few points, but this year they won by a good amount, and we left early. I never thought I'd leave a Knicks game early. I knew I had to go. I wanted to go because you don't. It's not every day the Knicks come down to play. So I went to see them, and clock strikes 8, and the Knicks are up by I want to say 25 in like the second quarter because the game was at 7. So if I stayed to watch the whole game, I was terrified of spoilers. It wasn't more of an anticipation thing for me. It was like, am I gonna get a text from my buddy? Am I gonna scroll on Instagram and it's gonna pop up that Will has powers or something like that? Was my fear. So I was like, I got to get home, and my dad. I'm driving, so I'm not on my phone. Um, and my dad wants Five Guys. I'm like, okay, cool. We're gonna stop. We're gonna get Five Guys. I didn't want anything because I couldn't eat. I didn't want to eat. I wanted to watch anything. So we get there. I put my car in park. I'm like, Dad, go get it. Take your time. I start watching the first episode. Um, and I'll never forget the first thing that happened was obviously the cold open. I skipped past that because we already seen it with the Will flashback and everything, and um, is the Holly scene with Mr. Watson.
Mm.
Holy shit! You talk about going right to it, dude. At breakfast, that's just
Yep.
it's a
With kids
kid,
playing. Yeah.
and then yeah, which is that's right,
Yep.
something like that. Um, yeah, just a great cold open scene with the first 5 minutes, but also You're starting off straight, kind of similar to how season four ended. The last season of season four is Holly and Karen looking out the window, and the first episode of season five is Holly looking out the window, but looking at
Wait,
something different.
is this part of your ranking? I'm confused.
No, no,
Oh, you're just randomly talking.
yeah, I'm just chatting. I love the show. I don't know what to say.
I was confused where you were going with that because
No,
I
I
was
was saying just the genius of the Duffers. How the very last line of season four is "Look, Mom, it's snowing," and this is the last thing I'll say. But the recast of Nell Fisher
she's
was
good.
great. It was I think she was great, especially in Camazotz with her and Max. Okay, enough of my yap. You did your number
I
three,
was just
right? Which was
confused. Yeah,
which
what's
was
your
the
two?
sorcerer. My number two is um running up that hill. Season four, episode four, Dear Billy. The whole sequence is great. Um, I'm gonna take it to when we really start it. Is this might you tell me if this is wrong here? I'm including the revelation with Nancy and Robin finding out about music because I
Yeah,
think that
that's
that plays
fair.
okay, perfect.
That's how yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah.
And then Dustin is jumps out the backpack on the hood of the Beamer or on the back of the Beamer, whatever. What's your favorite song? What's your favorite song? And then Lucas is like, why? And Dustin tries to explain it. He's like, shut up, what's your favorite song? I'll
What's
explain
your
later or
favorite
whatever.
song?
And Steve, being the superhero, he is okay, she's taking too long and she's, with her eyes crossed or whatever. And it's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm like, oh shit, we just saw this with Chrissy. Oh my God, what's happening? And then thankfully, right about as she's going to descend, throw the headphones on. And then running up that hill starts playing and she does her escape. And Mad Max is being the badass she is. She tears something from Vecna's neck, a vine or a tendril, and starts going. And the blood that's splattering from the ground, whatever that is, the reddish, darkish thing, and the stuff coming down from top. And she does make it out. And that's when she's just really appreciative of Lucas. I love the scene where they're like, "You're okay, you're okay, you're okay," and she's laying on
I'm
Lucas, and
still here. I'm still here, she said. Oh,
exactly.
so
I
good.
think that's so wholesome, and it's peak cinema in Stranger Things.
Yep. I will get to a little more about that in a bit. But my number two is Never Ending Story. I already talked about how I think the song was my number one. I forgot what else I ranked
The
high
season's not your
for that.
number one somehow.
Season's not the number one, but I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with it because you're not, it's subverting expectations in the silliest, most Stranger Things way because they're all kids. Because you're reminded in that moment, it's like, yeah, these are all like kids trying to solve all this shit.
Yeah, and
And
you've never seen Susie, and that's the first time you see
yeah,
her.
yeah, that was a great reveal too because some of the things we were talking about earlier, it happens toward the beginning of the season and then you kind of forget about it and then at the end it's a nice payoff. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I love that so much. Love it. I'm
Yeah.
curious what your number one is.
So your number one, I'm assuming, is running up that hill, right?
Yes.
My number one is the revelation that Vecna is one. I think that's the best scene that I've ever seen in television. And as bold as that statement is, I'm
I
including. You disagree?
no, I have no idea why I didn't include it. That's bad of me. That's
Oh,
really
that's
bad.
my. I think
That's
that's
bad.
better.
That should be like my two or three. Yeah, that's bad.
Come on, lock in, Mr. Epstein. Come on.
Not locked in.
I mean, I think it's better than anything I've. I mean, I'm gonna better than anything I've ever seen in The Sopranos, and I love The Sopranos. Better than anything I've ever seen in Breaking Bad, which I think is a great show. And like you mentioned, the score behind it, and it's at first it's Millie like in her full as she is because she's back in her memories, but then you get the scene where one like puts his hand on Eleven's chin and she's like the little 11 and you realize holy shit, this is being told to a 9-year old or probably even younger than that because she was probably 9 in 83 when she escaped, right? Are they how old are they 12? I think they're
What
12
age?
and
Yeah, they're 12 in season one. Yeah.
so they're 9. She was 9 at the time in 79. And then you get the completion of the scene from the cold open when Brenner is doing his word search and he goes to work and he's giving lessons to 10 and he comes back out and 11 is the culprit. And the Easter egg, you see the crack in the wall behind you or the shadow grows dark on the wall behind you. Oh, season one callback. Did you catch that?
I did.
Beautiful. Of course you did. And there's just a little bit of foreshadowing and then it all comes together and you get a little bit more lore based off what was told in season four, episode four, with when they were talking to the crew. I got to say, I like Mr. Munson when Nancy and Robin are talking to him, and he's like, he was a troubled boy or something. Great performance by Robert Englund, by the way. I'm going off on a tangent here, but he played Freddy Krueger back in Friday the 13th, so little 80s nod there. I thought that was incredible. But just being able to see an accumulation of that scene and continuation of the lore, I think is so incredible. And yeah, I think it plays a big part in the show. That's my number one.
Could I break some news for you in case you don't know?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Could I break some baseball news?
Sure.
Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers.
Oh, are you serious?
4 years, 240 mil.
There needs to be a salary cap.
Also
Dude, that
some
was our
free
chance,
rights
man.
here.
That was our chance.
Well, I thought the Mets were making a push because I don't know if whatever. We could do sports another time. That's just a quick.
Oh my
My
gosh.
number one, like we talked about, is running up that hill for all the reasons you talked about. It's fantastic. But the the Henry scene that I ranked the score super high because I'm obsessed with that score should
Yeah.
definitely be in my top five. Like that should easily be in my top five. But I guess we can move on to episodes. Hopefully, I didn't
Yeah.
forget one there.
Now, hopefully not, but that was the first one I thought of. The revelation was that was like came to mind first
So good.
when we did that. So now we're on to episodes here. The only I do not in my top five, I do not have an episode from season five in my top five.
I do.
I have an honorable mention to. I mean, the finale and Sorcerer. I think are great episodes. And then my other honorable mention is the season four finale. I think is pretty good as well. So those are my three honorable mentions.
Cool.
You have any honorable mentions, do you, or are you just going straight into five?
No, I could have I decided to just stick with five. You'll probably say an episode and I'll be like, oh yeah, maybe I would prefer that than my number five. But I think my top four are definitely locked in. I think so. And then my number five is where I'm sure I could have some deviation. But yeah.
Yeah, number five. I've got season two, episode nine, The Gate. We talked about it earlier when Elle closes it. Um, with you get the continuation of a little bit of Will's exorcism. I know that mainly takes place in, I believe, season two, episode eight, but you get a tad bit of a continuation with that. And then the snowball at the end of it is just great. I love it. Like I said, my favorite song in the show is used at the very end of that. Um, you got the Dustin Nancy scene, and you've got the Steve when he's kind of training his little dog, his little brother to go to battle or train him to go in there. And you got the 11 returns in her dress, and then Joyce and Hopper share a cigarette outside. I think it's a great episode. So my number five is season two, episode nine.
Actually, I'm gonna give one honorable mention I just thought of. My honorable mention is Papa
Okay.
from season four.
Okay.
Love that. That's my honorable mention. My number five is Sorcerer. I think it's a great episode. Obviously, the second half is sick. You have the Vecna entrance, which was inspired by Rogue One, which you have not
Oh,
seen.
I've seen the
Um,
scene,
you've seen the scene, okay, and
of
you
course.
decided you didn't want to turn that on. Cool. So, that you trust me, just get on that. Um, and then obviously, Will having powers at the end is insane,
And the
and
brutal death too of that lieutenant
yeah,
with the Groot
yeah,
reference, probably,
maybe.
but that was pretty
Very
cool as
sick.
well.
But Sorcerer, yeah, I think it was and then it was interesting the military's taking these kids, all right, and then the whole plan to get them out using Derek and there were a lot of fun stuff. And then you have the funniest thing in season five, which is the kid where he's like, Mr. What's it? in the bathroom, and then it pans to the kid's eyes.
Yeah,
It's
so
hilarious.
funny.
So I
Mini
this
Lucas.
yeah, there's Jesus, there's so much in that episode. I really love Sorcerer.
Yeah, my number four is the season one finale, the Upside Down. I think it's great. You know, you get the Will rescued scene. You get Jonathan and Nancy in the house fighting the Demogorgon, and they're telling Steve to get out, and Steve runs out, but then he looks back, sees the lights flashing, grabs his bat. You don't see him run in. It's another kind of unlikely hero that we talked about earlier. He grabs his bat, doesn't go in, puts back inside, and they're going to get attacked. I think her Nancy's gun might jam, or she runs out of bullets or something. And then you see like a shadowy figure, and it's Steve with the bat, and he hits the Demogorgon. I think that's a great scene. And Elle in the school with the Demogorgon, I think that's really cool as well. Lucas thought his rock was like a supernatural rock or something, and then you get a little Elle walking around the corner with her nosebleed, and I think that's super cool as well. And you get the little mini cliffhanger with Will coughing up a slug, but at my number four, season one, episode eight.
Good call. I actually have no season one episodes, which is crazy. I feel like for me, season one, like every
It's your
episode is
favorite
great.
season,
Yeah,
favorite season, but
no, but it's weird. Every episode is great. Every episode is like a 9 or a 9.5 to me, but there's nothing like a 9.9 to me. And I feel like all these are like a 9.9, whereas they have a lot of lows in their seasons, but they also have the highest of highs. That's just how I feel.
I
But
think with season one, it's because they're not long. I think none of them are. There's very few that are over
well,
50
no,
minutes. A
it's
lot of
small, it's
them.
grounded, everything connects. There's a cliffhanger at the end of every single episode. It
Yep.
hooks you in. It's so well done. The writing's amazing. Yeah. Um, my number four is the episode before your number five. It's the Mind Flayer, season two, episode eight. I much prefer that to the finale. Um, I think all the trying to get to Will, Joyce talking with him, trying to remind him who she is, that's amazing. I think all the way until the end of the episode where you have one of the moments I was talking about where Elle out of nowhere comes back from her Chicago trip, and then she, of course, you see the payoff to the reunion in the first scene of the finale, but you at least see Mike's face looking at her after 355 days. So I think it was beautiful. I love the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely could see how you take that in, but for me, the reason I put episode nine in here is Snowball. That's what does it for me, puts it over
Yeah.
episode eight. But I think it's a great. My number three is Dear Billy, season four, episode four, with the Nancy Robin duo going to Penhurst Asylum, finding out about the music, getting you get a little tease to the lore of the Creoles, and you see the scene, you don't know anything about the kid. He doesn't mention the kid until kind of towards the end of the storytelling. After he says, you know, Al's so adventurous and Henry was a weird kid, that's all he says. So you're like, oh, okay, this is just another weird family. Because at the time, he's the one who killed the family. You don't know about one storyline. I think that's what makes that scene in episode seven the best scene of television ever. So that's why I've got number four. And then, of course, you know, like I had mentioned, the music revelation and the scene with running up that hill. I think that's great.
You forgot something about Dear Billy. The shootout, the incredible camera work, the shootout in the house is that same episode.
I did forget
I
about that.
also my
I'll put a
laptop's
hand
gonna
up, take accountability.
my laptop's gonna die in like 2 or 3 minutes, I will say. And I know we're almost done anyway, so I'm just gonna fly through the last two that we already talked about anyway. But Dear Billy, the shootout is amazing.
I think we've got, I think we've both got two and one are probably the same.
You think so?
Well, what's your three?
My three is Dear Billy. Did I just say? Oh, sorry. Did I not say that my three is also Dear Billy?
Okay,
Oh,
your
okay,
three is
yeah,
your
yeah,
ability.
we have the same. Yeah.
I think our number ones are the same.
Okay, so then, okay,
My
so
number
what's your
two
two?
is season four, episode seven, The Massacre at Hawkins Lab.
Same, same.
Okay. Number one, season three, episode eight, The Battle of
Yep.
Starcourt.
Yeah.
That's my favorite episode in the show.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
the
Yeah.
the Grigori chase is crazy. The Alexi death, rest in peace. Then you've got the different groups, the Griswold family, the Eagles. I think it's the Eagle's Nest or something like that. Because you got the nest, the bird, the lovebirds, the bald
Scoops Troop.
eagle, Scoops Troop. Come on. And is there a fourth
I don't
team?
remember all the group names.
Because the Griswold family is the kids. the Scoops Troop. There's only three. There's only three of them, but just terrific. Like I said, for my number two, season four, episode seven, you get the backstory of one. That's all I need, and then you've got season three, episode eight, the Battle of Starcourt is the best episode in the show.
I talked about three, which is funny because I don't think I've ever met someone else who has that. I'm glad that we shared that opinion. Three, I already talked about three incredible moments, incredible scenes from that. The first scene where Hopper steps on the part of the mind
Oh
flayer and then
yeah,
everyone
that's right.
turns to him. That's the first scene of the episode. And then you have Never Ending Story, and you also have Hopper's letter. Like that's three elite scenes all in one, and then obviously it's just so fun following along with the final battle and everything in
You,
StarCard.
yeah, that's the best about it. I think at the time, I think Lucas was one of my favorite characters when I first watched it.
Fireworks.
So seeing him prove Max wrong and use the fireworks, I think was great. Um,
I will
and
say, laptop's gonna die in like maybe a minute.
okay, well, real quick, let's wrap this up. I also, correct me if I'm wrong, I think when 11 saves the Scoop Troops, if is that's in no, that's in episode seven. That's in episode seven. Got that one wrong, but anyways, Noah, it was great chatting on you here, my friend. So I hope everything goes well for you in your future endeavors, and I definitely believe that we will be back on here with another episode once again. My good friend Noah Epstein from Long Island, New York, Aaron Park, down here in Charlotte, North Carolina. First virtual Gentleman's Room episode. So, Noah, it was great to hear from you, my friend. I hope you have a great day.
Star Wars and Marvel next time.
Yes, sir. Go Knicks.
Go Knicks.